Welcome back. We're staying with our continuous coverage of the tributes that are pouring in for CDS General Bipin Rawat, his family and the families of all the deceased who lost their lives in that very tragic accident in Tamil Nadu on the 8th of December. Now, India Today had got you footage which was filmed only a few seconds before the crash actually took place in the Nilgiris in Tamil Nadu near Coonoor. Remember that this footage, this video could be crucial evidence as far as the investigation into this matter goes. Remember that the Indian Air Force is conducting a tri-services investigation into what happened exactly in the Nilgiris. Now, what India Today has done is that India Today has managed to track down the man who shot that very viral video, which is all over social media right now. He and his family, in fact, were on a holiday in Coonoor, and he was clicking pictures when he saw the chopper and decided to get it on camera. The video now has been handed over to the authorities by the tourists to aid the investigation into the crash.
அன்னைக்கு என்னாச்சு கொஞ்சம் சொல்ல முடியுமா?
இன்னைக்கு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நாங்கள் ஊட்டி போயிட்டு வந்தோம். காலையில் புதன்கிழமை மார்னிங் ஊட்டி போயிட்டு இருந்தோம். அப்புறம் அந்த காட்டேரி வர்ற இடத்துல ஃபோட்டோஸ் எடுத்துகிட்டு இருந்தோம். ஃபோட்டோஸ் எடுத்துகிட்டு இருக்கும்போது சரி ஃபோட்டோ எடுத்து முடிச்சுட்டு வரும்போது நம்ம ஜோபால் ஃப்ரெண்டு இந்த வீடியோ எடுத்தார். நாங்கள் நடந்து வரதை வீடியோ எடுத்தார். வீடியோ எடுத்தோடனே ஒரு ஹெலிகாப்டரோட சவுண்டு கேட்டது. சவுண்டு கேட்டோன்னே இவர் அந்த ஹெலிகாப்டர் உடனே ஷூட் பண்ணுற மேலே ஷூட் பண்ண ஒரு 2 செகண்டில் அது போய் கிராஷ் ஆகுதுங்க. போய் ஒரு மரத்தில் அடித்து கீழே விழுகிற சவுண்டு எங்களுக்கு நல்லா கேட்டதுங்க.
So NASA says that on that day they were at the spot as a kind of like just to look around, and that's when they saw it was Joe Paul who saw that helicopter going up, and he actually shot it for a couple of seconds, and within a split second what they heard was that a crash and the helicopter falling down. அந்த டைமில் உங்களுடைய சென்ஸ் எப்படி சார் இருந்துச்சு, ஃபீலிங்?
சார் ஆக்சுவலாக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த சவுண்டு டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருந்தது. ஹெலிகாப்டரோட சவுண்டு மாதிரி இல்லாமல் ஒரு சவுண்டு வித்தியாசமாக இருந்ததுனால தான் நாங்கள் டக்குனு என்ன இங்கே ஹெலிகாப்டர் நாங்கள் ஊட்டியில் ஹெலிகாப்டரோட நாங்கள் பார்த்ததே இல்லை. அதனால சும்மா எதார்த்தமாக கேஷுவலாக எடுத்தோம். அது அந்த க்ளவுட்ஸ்க்கு அப்படியே போய் ஒரு 5 செகண்டுக்குள்ளே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டமால் சவுண்டு கேட்டுச்சு. அதுக்கப்புறம் சவுண்டே இல்லை. அப்போ என் ஃப்ரெண்டு ஓடி உடஞ்சிருச்சான்னு கேட்டார். ஆமாம் அப்படின்னா அப்புறம் நாங்கள் அதை முடிச்சு கொஞ்ச நேரத்தில் நாங்கள் மேலே வந்துட்டோம்.
So he says that particular noise over there was something completely different, and that's the reason they were trying to find out what exactly happened. Within a split second, they heard a noise that is entirely different, and that's when NASA asked whether it crashed, and that's what happened. அதுக்கப்புறம் எப்படி சார், எப்படி போனீங்களா, மேலே போனீங்களா ஏதாவது பார்க்கறதுக்கு?
மேலே போனாங்க. ஒவ்வொரு பெண்டாக பார்த்துட்டு போனோம். எந்த இடத்துல இந்த சம்பவம் நடந்து விழுந்த இடத்த பார்க்கலாம்னு சொல்லி ஒவ்வொரு ஏரியாவும் போயிட்டு இருந்தோம். ஒவ்வொரு பெண்டாக போய் பார்க்கும்போது எங்களுக்கு அவ்வளோதான் தெரியலைங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அங்கேருந்து ஆம்புலன்ஸு, போலீஸ் ஜீப்புங்க, ஃபயர் சர்வீஸ் இவங்கெல்லாம் ஃபுல்லாக வந்துட்டே இருந்ததுன்னா அந்த வண்டியை ஃபாலோ பண்ணி கீழே அவங்க வந்தோடனே அவங்கள்ட்ட போய் சொன்னோம், இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபயர் ஆயிருக்கு. அப்போ என்னன்னு கேட்டோன்னா அவங்க சொன்னாங்க இந்த மாதிரி ஃபயர் ஆயிருச்சு அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க.
So like they also tried to reach the spot where there was an accident, and they tried going through several bends, and finally almost after 20 minutes they actually met first responders over there, and they were the ones who actually told them what exactly happened, and that's the time they decided that this is a very crucial piece of evidence, and that's the reason they voluntarily handed over this evidence to the officials. In the visual first time பார்க்கும்போது அதுல அந்த ஜெனரல் பிபின் ராவத் இருந்தால் தெரிஞ்சிச்சா? டிவில பார்க்கும்போது எப்படி இருந்தது?
இல்லை சார், யாருமே நாங்கள் நினைச்சோம் ஒரே ஒரு சிங்கிள் பர்சன் தான், ஏதோ வண்டி போயிட்டு இருக்கு, ஏதோ ஒரு ஹெலிகாப்டர். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மனசுல ஏதோ என்ன அங்கே சுற்றுலா அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு இல்லைங்க, அந்த மாதிரி ஏதோ பீப்புள்ஸ் கூட்டிட்டு போறாங்களா அந்த மாதிரி ஃபீல் பண்ணோம். அது என்ன ஒரு செகண்ட் தானே, ஒரு 2 செகண்ட்ல அதை பார்த்தோம், அவ்வளோதான். ஆனால் அந்த ஹெலிகாப்டர் போனோடனே அந்த பனிமூட்டம் நல்லா தெரிஞ்சு சார், நல்ல பனிமூட்டம் அதில் அப்படியே மறைஞ்சிருச்சு.
So like he claims that like they didn't even know who were inside that particular helicopter at that point. They thought that there could be one person maximum, and not just that. They say that like within a split second that helicopter actually vanished into the mist.
Right, so you heard over there from the man who shot that video, which India Today brought to you first, which basically shows the crash as it happened just moments before the helicopter, in fact, crashed near Coonoor in Tamil Nadu. In fact, India Today has accessed shocking footage of that crash, that ill-fated crash that happened in Tamil Nadu when the Mi-17 V5 helicopter went down as it was about to land in in Wellington. That shocking footage has been accessed by India today. The video actually captures the last moments and it appears to show the copter in control just seconds before it crashes. Here's more.
The frightful last moments of the ill-fated chopper carrying Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, wife Madhulika and 12 defence personnel. Caught on camera by a group of unsuspecting youngsters on ground in the Nilgiris mountains. The chopper can be seen and heard roaring overhead, with no apparent wobble and maintaining what looks like a steady course, but dangerously close to the foliage on the ground, navigating through foggy and misty skies, with apparent bad weather and low cloud cover. The youngsters can be seen stopping on the path, wondering what's going on. The video then catches a loud booming explosion sound in the background as the chopper, now not on camera, crashes into the terrain. Taken aback, the group of young residents are seen exclaiming, "Has it crashed?" The video then abruptly stops, but not before giving some important insight into what exactly went wrong seconds before the fateful mishap. Was it the bad, blinding, misty weather, which often grips these parts of Nilgiris at this time of the season?
The helicopter was definitely flying low because this area, you could see that the entire back area is completely covered in mist. Around 11 o'clock, this whole spot will be covered by mist. And generally, any kind of helicopter sortie that starts from Coonoor and coming to Wellington base, they actually, from that crash point, either take a left or a right. On the left side, there is a hill that is almost twice the size of this one, which is completely covered by mist right now. And that's the only way they can go, and on the right side. But generally, they prefer the left side. And as we speak, you could see the mist is setting in over there. And this is the most kind of unfortunate part.
Did the weather cause cockpit disorientation? Or was it some sudden technical snag? The black box retrieved from the wreckage holds important clues. Bureau Report, India Today.
Right, so the breaking news that we're getting at this point of time is that full military honours will be given to Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. Over 120 members of the Tri-Services are to form the front escort. 800 service personnel will be in attendance at CDS funeral. 17-gun salute to be given to CDS General Bipin Rawat. My colleague Mohit Sharma is joining me live on this. Mohit, the Indian Air Force, the Indian Navy, the Indian Army, the Tri-Services, in fact, to give full military honours to Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat.
Well, absolutely, Polami, and it is fitting as well. The kind of aura that the CDS carried, and more importantly, it is as per the protocol as well. That since he was the head of the Tri-Services as well, he was the Chief of Defence Staff. He was essentially, the go-to point for the government between the forces and the government of India as well. And right now, we can show you certain preparations that are happening here as well. This happens to be the Barar Square crematorium, where earlier in the day, it was the tribute were also given to a Brigadier Lakhwinder here as well. And now, preparations are underway for the CDS and for his mortal remains to reach here. It is expected that senior most dignitaries would also be arriving. And the CDS, the kind of role that he played in India, specifically with respect to kind of strategies that he formulated, with respect to the kind of decisions that he helped the government of India take, and more importantly, not even as just as the CDS, but more importantly as as an officer of the army as well. You look at his career; it is a long career, starting from right from the time when he was deployed in the northeast region to counter the anti insurgency movements. He was out there. He's countering the insurgency movements out there as well. And then whether he was deployed in Kashmir, ensuring that India's fight against terrorism continues to go strong, or whether when he was at the LAC, ensuring that the borders were safe and there was the situation between India and China at the border locations did not get either worsen or at least would not worsen further. So he played a very crucial role as an army officer as well. And post that, we've seen how he the kind of role that he played strategically, ensuring that India had developed a very good rapport with the neighboring countries, especially with countries like Bhutan, Nepal, Myanmar. All of them had are of strategic importance, and India developed very good relations with them. And you have the CDS to thank for it. If the AK-203 are coming in India, it is a huge role that the CDS did play in it, strengthening of relations between the armies as well. The joint operations, the joint practices that happened between the armies of Russia, or for that matter with the US as well. All of the credit has been given to the CDS as well. And it's the constant preparedness of the army that really talks about it. It's the constant preparedness of the forces that really takes the force of any country
his contribution to the services to the nation show, and they will continue to show for the future as well, Mohit. Of course, the military will be giving him full honors this afternoon when his mortal remains are taken to Brass Square Crematorium in order to lay them to rest for a final time. In fact, the mortal remains of General Bipin Rawat and Mrs. Madhulika Rawat were brought to his Delhi residence earlier this morning. Wrapped in tricolour, the casket of General Bipin Rawat is at his residence for public viewing and for the nation to pay final tribute. So Minister Amit Shah was among the first to pay tributes to the fallen soldier. General Rawat's daughters, along with their families, including the CDS's grandson, paid an emotional tribute to General Rawat. Other dignitaries, including Rahul, Gandhi, Ajit Doval, were among those who paid homage. Military personnel will be allowed to pay their tributes till 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. Following that, General Bipin Rawat will begin his final journey from his residence to Brass Square Crematorium at 2 p.m. The Chief of Defence Staff of Sri Lanka, General Shavendra Silva, is also expected to attend the final rites of General Bipin Rawat. My colleague Mohit Sharma continues to be live with me from the Brass Square Crematorium. Mohit, in a short while from now, the mortal remains of General Bipin Rawat will be taken from his residence to Brass Square Crematorium in order to pay the final respects to the first CDS of India. This is going to be an extremely heartbreaking moment for not just the entire nation, even the establishment. This leaves a huge gap, a huge hole in, the establishment in itself. The grief, the shock of it was absolutely evident on the faces of most ministers that we, of course, saw on the day itself, on the 8th of December. We saw that. The look on the Prime Minister's face as he chaired that very crucial Cabinet Committee on Security meeting that evening at 6:30 p.m. in order to take stock of what exactly had happened in Coonoor, in Tamil Nadu. It just goes to show what sort of a vacuum General Bipin Rawat leaves behind. His contribution to the nation, the shoes that the next CDS of the country will have to fill, Mohit.
Well, absolutely, Polami, you're absolutely right. The tweet, if you look at it, that came in from the Prime Minister himself, clearly talked about how he himself was in shock, and those words that came about to be from the Prime Minister clearly showcase the kind of importance that the Prime Minister, the CDS, I beg your pardon, really held in India, the kind of importance that he held in India. And this is something that all whether we talk about the people who are in power at the moment or those who are in the opposition, all of them have actually acknowledged, clearly giving an idea that it was of great importance. And really the kind of decisions that the CDS really helped India in making talked about how crucial his role was to India. And this is not just in ensuring with respect to the army, it is not just in ensuring that there was a better communication between the tri-forces and the government, but more importantly it was also strategically important, given the fact that India had India has a lot of neighbors, and to further better the diplomatic ties with them and strategic ties with them is also very important. And that is exactly something that the CDS managed to do. You had countries like Nepal, you had countries like Bhutan, you had countries like Myanmar. All of them have the strategic communication with these nations have been bettered because of the kind of decisions that the CDS actually helped India make. And and that's precisely one of the reasons that Nepal even went on to give him the honorary general title, the title of an honorary general. And this really speaks volume that it wasn't just in India that he was very well known, he was renowned, but more importantly across the Southeast Asia, that he was looked up to. And talking specifically about countries as well, if you talk about the bettering of ties with other nations, whether it be Russia, whether it be US, the CDS did play a very important role in ensuring that the ties bettered. Like I was previously saying as well, whether it was ensuring that there could be an upliftment in the kind of way the traditional army really works, whether it was to ensure that the army is continues to be professional. All of those decisions were taken in light to ensure that there is a betterment, not just strategically, but
Absolutely,
also in the lives
absolutely,
of the armament.
Mohit. It is his contribution, again, unparalleled contribution in the short time that he served as India's first Chief of Defence Staff. General Bipin Rawat has left very big shoes to fill. Air Marshal Anil Chopra continues to be with us. Thank you, sir, for being so patient. The vacuum that has been left behind by the untimely demise of the nation's CDS, how will we fill that, sir?
Yeah, undoubtedly, Palomi, the government is seized of the situation. There's an emergency that has happened, and we have lost the head of the Tri-Services Organization, the CDS. And I'm sure the government and the Cabinet Security Committee will look at, the CCS will look at this. They must be already talking about it. They have various choices. They're essentially the Navy and the Air Force chiefs have just retired within less than 2 months, and we have a senior army general. So between the three, the government will take its call. They will look at who's the best person to carry on the legacy that the CDS has left. As you said rightly, the CDS left big boots because being the first CDS, there were a lot of things that he had to get in place and to drive. And the two things that specifically he was trying to drive was the integration of the three armed forces, which is his main mantle, which he was given by the government. And second was how to get the armed forces to buy more and more indigenous things and to promote indigenization and Atmanirbharta. And I think on those two counts, the legacy has to be moved forward. There's no turning back. The country has to get the armed forces integrate in various ways, and that is what he was in an advanced stage. His target was in the remaining 1 year of his tenure as CDS. He will try to complete that. It's unfortunate that he is no more. The next person will have no choice. The path has been laid, and the new person, whosoever takes up, I'm sure the government will announce that in the next 2 to 3 days. At a very early date, but the system is in place. There is already a chairman of Chiefs of Staff Committee. The Chiefs of Staff Committee continues to function. So therefore, there's nothing of worry.
Sir.
Yeah, there's nothing of worry, and everything is in place. Yes.
Sure. All right. Right. So, of course, that is what Air Marshal Anil Chopra is saying, that there's nothing to worry at the moment. Everything is in place. But, of course, the gaping hole within the system that is left behind by the untimely demise of Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, that is something that the establishment must be thinking about as we speak right now. We're going to continue with our rolling coverage of the tributes that are pouring in for General Bipin Rawat before the nation, in fact, bids him a final goodbye. We're slipping into a very short break.